Hello. I know I'm doing quite few videos recently, but I've been seeing things that just make me think. And when I make me think, I talk. So I'm talking to you. I got a few guests with me. This is Tilly, who's sleeping, and her sister's in my lap. I saw something, just one of them little reels off of Facebook, and it said, I wish that somebody would have told me that sacrificing your boundaries in the name of empathy was wrong. That one really made me think, and she went on to explain. You know, I was taught, and I know 99.9% of the world was taught it too. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes. You need to respect others and see where they're coming from. You see where I'm going with that. But it's not okay. Sorry. There we go. Move you down just a hair. It's not okay to have your boundaries stepped all over. Even if you know that someone is hurting and maybe they're treating you like a crap sandwich because they're hurting, that is not an excuse. There is no reason to treat someone else like a crap sandwich just because you had a crappy childhood or you're having a rotten day. What are you having a bad day about? Sorry, my service dog Archer's having a wine fest. They don't like it because it's cold outside. But back to my point. I always try to think, well, he or she might not know any better. Or something to that effect. That maybe there's some reason behind why this person's doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying, taking the actions that they're choosing to take. But you see, there's the thing. There's the rub, as they say. They're making a choice. They're choosing to put hurting someone else over healing themselves. That's not right. There's such a thing as empathy. Yes. You need to see where someone else is coming from to help you understand them or what they may be going through. But at the same time, you have to have enough respect and love for yourself to go, stop. This is not okay. You're hurting. You had a crappy childhood, but that doesn't give you the right to step all over me. You have to respect yourself enough to go, this isn't okay. I can't accept the way you're treating me. You may love that person so much that you don't think you can live without him. I made myself become so dependent on my best friend Danny that I didn't think I could live alone. I didn't think I could do my bills. Have I messed up? Yes. But I only learned to do those things because she died. Had she not died, even had she been disabled, let's say, and survived, and I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have learned all the lessons I have learned. I do not have anything for you. Sorry. I did not respect myself enough to tell her, you can't treat me this way. I remember asking her one time, why can't I have a radio in my room? She says, I don't know. You just can't. The radio's mine. I said, why do you treat me this way? And she said, I don't know. But yet I was expected just to accept it. And I did. I didn't like it. But, it's just Annie. She's had to grow up from such a young age. And I made excuses for it. I allowed her to treat me like dirt. To use me financially, especially. I paid for everything. She didn't get a job. She became her mother's caregiver and supposedly mine, yet I still did all the work. Yet she spent the money. I convinced myself that it was okay for her to get whatever she wanted, be it collector's Barbies, tools, whatever. And I couldn't even get a brand new shirt of my own. I had to wear her clothes because we wore the same size. Why should we buy new clothes for both of us when just one of us would do? When looking back on it, we had the money for me to buy clothes if she didn't buy the brand new collector's Barbie that cost $75 off the internet. You see where I'm going? I didn't have enough respect for myself to say, I have to leave. I can't let you treat me this way. I was one of those women that was convinced I had to let her treat me that way because I couldn't do without her. That's not just a marriage thing. That can happen between friends. It can happen so subtly you know not that you're being abused until it's already happening and you don't know how to get out. Because even if you don't have kids, sometimes you just can't get up and leave because you've trapped yourself in your mind. It's not okay just because someone else has A, B, or C problem and you want to be empathetic and understanding to be stepped all over. I'm not a doormat. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. I've had to learn respect for myself. I even gave away my durable power of attorney and my medical power of attorney. In other words, for those of you who might not know what those are, if something happened to me, she had the legal right, because I signed papers saying she did, to make decisions on my behalf. Medically, financially, all of it. And now looking back, I know for a fact some of those decisions weren't always for my benefit. But I was so brainwashed, I guess you could say. I don't know what to call it. I was thinking so much that I had to do it. I gave away my bed. I slept on the floor, even in the winter when we had only wood stove for heat. I would sleep on the couch or on the floor. Once in a while, I'd sleep in her bed if the wood stove would go out, just simply because we only had enough covers for one bed. I gave away my bed, and I still don't know whose idea that was. There's empathy and understanding to a point. Oh, the holidays are hard for so-and-so, so I just bite my tongue and whatever they say is whatever. You're seeing and hearing my dogs wander around more because the wind is howling outside and it has them nervous. Sorry for the aside on that one. I know that it seems like it came out of left field, but that's why you're hearing and seeing more of my animals. But just because you're empathetic to a situation doesn't mean you have to let yourself become a victim. And if you see someone you love in that situation, I would rather have my loved one excuse my language, pissed off at me and alive and well and not being in an abusive situation, and there's more than one kind of abuse, including financial, emotional, physical, and others. I would rather have my family member PO'd at me than living in a situation like that and thinking that it's okay. I'd rather have them mad as heck at me and out of that, because they can then begin to heal and begin to see that you are worth something. Listen to me. You are worth something. Even if I don't know you, even if I've never set eyes on you, you are worth everything. You weren't put here by a fluke. You mean something. You're worth something, and not just a small something. You are here because you are loved. I love you. God loves you. I don't know you, and I love you. You are loved. You are worth it. And you are worth it means you don't get stepped on. Oh, well, you don't know what I've been through. You haven't looked at my videos. I've been through the wash and back. And there's situations where there's empathy that's called for, but there's situations where empathetic people get stepped on because someone else knows, oh, she'll feel sorry for me, and they get used. And they step over a line they should never have crossed. There's such a thing as holding someone up, being their friend, and being empathetic. And there's such a thing as someone using you and stepping all over your rights. Just because you're an empathetic person doesn't mean you doesn't. Yeah, that's English class for you. Doesn't mean you don't have rights. Rights to be loved. Rights to be respected. Rights to be honored and cherished. And if they can't give you what you've given to them, then they're not worth it. But you are. All right, enough preaching. At least for now. I'm going to go try to convince my service dog, just because the wind is blowing, he's not dying. I love you guys. I don't care if I know you or not. I love you. You're worth everything. To me, to God, to the universe, however you see it. That ain't mine to judge. I'm not here to judge you. But maybe I'm here because something I've gone through will help you. It helps just one person, then my life has been worth something. And you do not deserve to be treated like crap. If someone can't treat you honorably and lovingly and try to see things from your point of view as well, or at least admit that you can't agree on everything and love you anyway, then they've got to work on themselves. And you've got to back off, or they're going to be toxic to you. And that can lead to obsessive behavior. It can lead to violence. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. Mm-hmm. And maybe you'll think, oh, they only hit me because they want to make sure I understand. He don't mean it. She don't mean it. They only want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm saying the right thing. Or I deserve it. I thought I deserved to sleep in the floor. No matter what the temperature. I asked permission to use some old couch cushions to sleep on. so I'd have a little something soft. I felt grateful when she let me have a blow-up mattress that never stayed inflated because she cared about me. But I couldn't have a bed. I felt grateful that she let me have one of the back rooms in the house as a bedroom, even though it was the craft room where the lizards slept and the craft items were kept. And I felt grateful that I could stay living with her when she decided to get married without asking me, causing us to lose our HUD. I had to cancel the HUD willingly, or I would have been penalized because we had someone not on our HUD list in the house. And I was grateful that I was still able to live there. Well, she didn't have she had to grow up too fast. Bullshit. She didn't respect me, and I still love her as my best friend, and I always will. But she didn't respect me enough to see me as an equal partner in that household. No, we weren't married, but we were living in the same darn house. That meant I should have had a say too. But I didn't. I know myself now well enough that when I move out with my friend Katie, I will be an equal. I am an equal. It is my house and Katie's house. These are my dogs. And I'm allowed to have them because she ain't going to tell me no. In fact, you know what she said when I told her we got Tilly's litter mate and that I wouldn't get any other animals without talking to her first? She laughed. She laughed at me. Why? Because she knows me better than that. But it's equal. I'm comfortable to be myself. I've got my own finances. I've got my own bank account, and I don't answer to anyone. No matter, because it's my money. I don't ask to have a bed because I'm worth it. I give myself that. You see what I'm saying? Nobody has the right to raise their voice to me or to touch me or to make me feel like the worm on the bottom of their shoe because I deserve better. Who says? I say. And if they don't like it, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Because I'll take my crutches and I'll shove it up your old chocolate whiz way. You'll be pulling crutches out of your teeth from the back end. Why? Because I'm a violent person? No. I'm actually not. But I will not be disrespected. Because I know now that I'm worth it. And so are you. You can be empathetic to a person's situation to a point. How do you know when the point's been crossed? Ask yourself one question. Does this point cause me harm? Is this point detrimental to my mental, physical, psychological, emotional, financial health? Does it endanger my safety? Does it endanger my family? And that don't just include kids. I knew someone that had a fight with someone else. They were fighting, and he took his gun, and he went to the backyard, and he called the dogs. One dog survived because I was able to grab it. The other one I couldn't grab, and he shot her. Him. It was a male Pekingese. He shot him. That stayed with me, has stayed with me my whole life. I couldn't save Gizmo because I couldn't catch him. I caught Nikki, and I could save her, but I couldn't save Gizmo. I was 12. Is your family safe? Are you safe? If the answer to even one of those is no, if Joe Schmo threatens the dog every time I get to do something because he knows that my kid loves that dog, and I will stop because I don't want to see the dog or my kid hurt, sweetie, that's still abuse. You should be safe to disagree in your own home. And if you two can't talk without fighting about whatever it is, you table that and walk away. You find a way to separate till you cool down. Or you call in someone to mediate. I've done that. I've mediated for friends before, and I'll do it again. But you never put you, your family, your mental health, your finances, your safety in jeopardy. If your empathy towards someone else does that, then that's too far. Even if it causes you anxiety and you're starting to feel your heart race, your breath quickens, and you're in a situation where you don't feel comfortable, you back away. Because you've got to think of you before you can take care of anybody else. Okay? You can be empathetic. More people need to be empathetic. But don't detriment yourself. Don't do it. I've done it. And it's harder to go downhill and start seeing yourself from the ground than it is to claw your way back up from no self-respect. It can take minutes to break that down, and years, and a lifetime to build that back up. Some people never do. I still have times when I apologize when I didn't do a dang thing wrong. If you know me well enough and you're around me and I start doing that, something has spooked me. It has scared me. I'm trying to make it better by apologizing because that's all I know to do. To take the blame. To apologize just so everything will get better on an even keel, even for a little while. It's instinct. She's tearing the fuzz off her tennis ball. That's going to be wonderful. She's going to drop a slimy ball in my lap. But she and he, who's too big to be in my lap right now, they count on who? It's not just a dog. These two are not just animals. They're 7-month-old babies. Hi. They can't feed themselves. They can't get into the cupboard and get the dog food. They can't put more water in their water dish by themselves. They need me for that. They can't live in the wild because they're domesticated. Maybe some animals can. These two are wimps, especially this one. I love you, darling. Excuse me, my little klepto's got a hold of something again. Pandora, give me that. I swear, if there was a support group for klepto puppies, she'd be the first one in line. She takes a hold of everything. But even if you don't have kids, and you're just you, it's just you. You don't have kids, you don't have pets. You got yourself. Don't let yourself get pulled down so low that it takes years to be built back up. Because you're worth more than that. And there's going to be people that are going to play on that empathy to get you to do what they want. Teenagers are good at it. But Mom, And Mom loves that kid so much, sometimes Mom or Dad just sees that little baby they love and not the teenager that's pulling the wool over their eyes. I did that more than once. Not proud of it now as an adult. It was a mistake. And what are mistakes? They are lessons. No mistake is a bad one. It's just a chance to learn how to correct your own behavior. Because if you don't stand behind yourself and say, I'm worth better than that, I want to behave because I respect myself. I don't want you to talk down to me because I have more self-respect for myself than that, and I don't deserve it. I don't care how old you are. A bully is a bully. You don't become a bully, and you don't allow yourself to be bullied. I can't physically fight. If it came down to a physical fight, I'm going to be in the hospital. But I'm not defenseless. I have my words, and those can cut. I don't like cutting people with my words, but I will protect myself. And if that means ratting on someone, even if it's my own family, to the cops or whatever, you're not going to disrespect me and take advantage of me ever again. How much respect and empathy do you have for yourself? There's a question. I've been there. I've been in the ground, so to speak, and had to claw my way back up to what I have now. You can do it. You are worth it. Even if you don't believe it, I want you to get a piece of paper and write, I am, and fill in the blank. What are you filling in the blank with? I am worthy. I am honest. I am lovable. I am deserving of love. Or are you filling in the blank negatively? I am hopeless. I am alone. We all feel that way sometimes. But are you going to let that emotion rule you? Or are you going to let that emotion have its time? And then tell yourself, okay, you've had your pity party. Now pull up your bootstraps and get on your feet. I have a friend who is in hospice, folks. She knows this is going to be her last Christmas if she makes it that far. If she makes it. When I started spending more time with her, she was angry. And I knew it. And I got onto her for it. You should have seen the CS worker. Her government worker was looking at me funny at first. And I just held up my hand and said, hear me out. I looked at her, I said, we both know you're dying. I looked at her and said, life is a fatal disease. None of us are getting out of it alive. Now, how are you going to live the rest of your life? No matter how much time you've got left, are you going to pity yourself and lay in that bed and not have any type of life until it's time for God to call you home? Or are you going to do as much as you can for yourself? Are you still going to be there for those kids and grandkids while you still can and make memories for them and show them how strong Mama is? Not was, is. Because all death is a transfer of energy. You're still here, just your body dies. That's what I believe. And that's what she believes. Yes, she had a right to be pissed off and angry. She's got cancer that's terminal. She may not make it to Thanksgiving, much less Christmas, which Thanksgiving is the 24th of November for those who aren't in the States. Or the 20th, I think it's the 24th. You'll have to check me on that, but I think. Anyway, we're sitting on November 12th here, right now, 11th or 12th. She may not make it to the 24th of November. Every time I talk to her, she's letting me know hospice has had to do a little more for her, and that's fine. Like I told her, you let them help you. There's no shame in that. But are you going to give up and lay down and just exist until it's time to go? Or are you going to, even if you can't get out of bed, sit up and talk to your kids, talk to your grandkids as much as you can, or just hold their hand so that they know that they're still loved by you? Or are you going to pity yourself and just lay there? Y'all may think I'm cruel. You may think that. Okay, that's fine. If that's what you want to think, go ahead. But when I was the child in the cast for months and I couldn't do anything but sit in the recliner or lay on the couch, I couldn't even go to the bathroom on my own. Someone had to carry me into the bathroom. Because the house we were in was not set up for a wheelchair, I couldn't even do that. I could sit in the wheelchair, or I could have someone take me and wheel me onto the back porch, but that's as far as I could go. It was a 12 by 60 trailer with 4 people in it, one of which was in a wheelchair. I couldn't even sleep in a bedroom. I had to sleep on a fold-out in the living room because there was no space. I couldn't get down the hall because of my casts. I was not allowed to feel sorry for myself. I was put in a recliner. I wasn't just given the remote. I was given a lap desk and my homework. I was given homemade homework by my mother, or my stepfather would do it. When I was too young to really go to school, when I was 5 and I had my very first surgery, I was in the cast from my toes to my up, just below my hips. So I couldn't bend my knees, couldn't do nothing. I'm just sitting there with my legs out. And I had to go to the babysitter. I remember my sister got a rope. I think one was a jump rope and the other was an old yellow rope, like twine rope from my grandpa. And she would knot those. As many knots as she could, or as big a one knot as she could. She'd put it in my lap and go, here's your homework. Have this unknotted by the time I get home. I would punish myself if I had an accident, even at 5 years old. I'd make me sit in it because I thought I deserved to be punished. No one told me that. That was my own thinking. Because I didn't want to make more work for my mama. But see, I learned from that. I learned that just because I need help doesn't mean I'm helpless. Sometimes I forget that lesson. But then I'm reminded of it again. I need a little more help than others, but I'm not helpless. My friend is in hospice care at her daughter's, but she's not dead yet. I acknowledge with her that it sucks. Okay? I acknowledge she has the right to be angry, sad, upset, and all the other negative emotions. Give them their time. The grief. Whatever situation is. Listen to you. Oh, caught her. But then go on. Don't live in the past and in the grief and in the That's abuse of yourself. That's what you're doing too when you have empathy for someone and you're saying, oh, they can't, because you're making that person live in the past. There's no benefit there. There's no life there. Don't do that to someone. You may need a little empathy. Do you tell them you may need a little empathy right now and a little understanding, but you will get through this. And if they don't believe it, you keep saying it, and they will finally understand and believe you. But you don't do everything for them and, oh, poor whatever. And not expect anything of them, because then they can't expect anything of themselves. They don't think they're worth it. So there's empathy, but then there's a line for you and a line for others. A line you don't cross because you don't want to let others not do what they can for themselves. And a line where you don't let others harm you. Don't harm anybody, but don't let anyone harm you either, or those you love. Balance it out. Sorry for this rant, but you know me by now if you've watched enough of my videos. I have these rants, and maybe someone will benefit from my rant. I love you. Pandora loves you. Tilly and Archer love you. God loves you. Don't you ever forget that. And no matter what your awesome impossible in this life is, you can get it. Through it, around it, dig under it. And it may take you, like my friend. But you don't let it take you minute by minute and just give up. Because you're worth more than that. And you're more than just this body we wear. Have respect for yourself. I love you. If you need to talk, hit me in the comments. Do you agree with me? If not, tell me why. Let's talk about it. Good night. God bless.